Hello everyone. This is a tutorial video, an updated tutorial video for Homesteads V2.3.9 specifically, on how to create your own placeables and buildings that you can actually use inside of the mod itself. Let's get started on this then. Let's knock out both of these things here. We got the campfire and the sitting areas with fur and hooligans. So I think I'm just going to combine all that, make a nice little cozy fire. And I'll walk you through that process. So first off, you want to open up that modding kit. I'm not necessarily going to go over things inside of the modding kit, how to do things, stuff like that. So this is not that kind of tutorial video. I will also be going a little bit faster than what I did in the last video. If you have not seen the last video, last tutorial, I would highly recommend at least watching some of it. It'll go over things a little bit more in depth, at least in the beginning. So first off, I guess we're going to need a campfire, because that's kind of a requirement, isn't it? I think I like this one better. It's a little bit more simple. Okay, we got ourselves a nice little campfire there. We do need to add sound to the campfire. It does not come, some of them don't come with sound, surprisingly. I think we might as well just use an old one. Like this. Now, where did I put that sound? Did I not put sounds on this one? Oh, there it is. Okay, so to attach sound to things, what I do is I add a new script, ambient sound emitter. It has a bunch of sounds for you to use. And you want to check play on startup. All this stuff should actually like automatically fill in, at least in my experience. But at least make sure it kind of looks like this. I'd say play on startup is probably the most important. So let's get rid of everything else besides just the campfire. I appear to have making a mistake. You know, every time I do these videos, it seems like I get myself into some trouble here. Okay, there we go. I think that looks good. Good. All right, we'll use that. Now, let's add some, because it says we need to add some furs on the ground, and then we're gonna have some animations popped in. So let's add those furs first. I am using, I'm holding Z, the letter Z key, to rotate it like this. And then I'm holding down B to scale it like this. And then I just move my mouse, just so you know. Okay, I think that's adequate, at least for like tier 0, I think, so. Now we're gonna add the animations. So to add animations, you need to do some special things to it. But first off, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to search for a prefab that kind of goes like something like this. Now, all of these animation prefabs here, not all of them will work. You have to select the right one, and I'll show you how to actually select the right one. Let me see if they got anything like sit on ground or something. Definitely not that one. Well, we can add this one in the meantime, I suppose. Okay, so now that we have one down, we are going to click into it, or at least right click and then inspect. And now down here you're going to see a script of some kind. Now if it is a usable place, this is a animation point that Homestead NPCs can use, and Homestead NPCs can only use usable places. I have not tried it with anything else. So make sure it has a usable place, and it should be fine. Animation point right here being a child is a good indicator as well, but that usable place is the most important. Now that we have that all settled right there, we're going to go back to inspect, and we're going to get rid of this tag right here. If it has any default tags, you can get rid of them. We're going to add a new tag. This tag is going to be homestead underscore spawn point underscore NPC. Add that tag, and NPCs will be able to spawn on this animation point, and this goes for any NPC that is inside of your homestead's garrison. Now, this is not part of the old tutorial, there are new spawn point tags that you can apply to Homestead Placeable. So let me go through those with you. Instead of NPC, which you can apply, is you can apply Homestead Spawn Point Spouse, and this will apply for your spouse. I believe it also works if they're in your party, but definitely within the homestead. If your spouse is placed inside of the homestead, they will spawn here. This overrides all of the other spawn points, so if you have a spouse, your spouse will always spawn on these spawn points. And if your spouse is not spawned on one of these spawn points, it will fall back to a different spawn point. I will explain the hierarchy as we go along. So spouse is 1. There is also Homestead Spawn Point Companion. Let me check real quick if that's correct. I believe it is. So this prefab right here will have all the spawn points I need to tell you about. This one has leader. Okay, so there it is, spawn point homestead leader. This one will override companion. So I was right. Forgot all the tags I made, man. Hold on. Oh, that's weird. I guess it's spawn point homestead. Yeah, alright, cool. Yeah, I guess I forgot about all that. No, I'm sorry about that, but you can go ahead and change all of that if you already said it. It's going to be spawn point homestead, and then whatever it is. So there is spouse, and that takes priority over everything. There is leader, which takes priority over companion, and then companion, which will take priority over NPC. Now, NPC will always spawn the regular troops in your party, but if you have some with spawn point homestead companion, the heroes in your party and in your homestead's garrison will spawn on those points. If spawn point homestead leader is somewhere found in the scene, the leader will spawn there, and if there's a spouse, you could set this tag right here. Now these tags replace this tag, the Homestead NPC tag. You do not need the Homestead NPC tag if you have one of these 3. So there's also Homestead Guard. Now how you use that, rather what that does, let me explain that first. If a spawn point animation location does not have a rather it will spawn the NPC with their weapons, so they won't spawn in civilian gear with that tag. Now you applied that tag as a secondary tag. So for instance, let's go back to the one that we're making. If I want the homestead leader to spawn at this spawn point, and I want them to be wearing their armor and having their weapons, what I would do is I would set 2 tags. The first being spawn point homestead leader, and the second being homestead guard. With these 2 tags, this spawn point will spawn the leader at this location. If there are multiple spawn points with the same tag of leader, it will randomly choose between the 2, but if this is the only one, this leader will spawn here for sure. And they will have their weapons and armor. Without the homestead guard tag, they will not carry their weapons or armor. So let's change this back to NPC. That is what we want spawn in there, after all. Now that that's all set, we can forget about it. That's done. So let's add a few more animations around here, just to make it a little bit more lively. There really is no sit on the ground, huh? You'd think they would make that. I guess I gotta make that. I mean, there's this one. But I mean, this is kind of like warming their hands, I suppose. Okay, now that we have these animations, I think I'm satisfied with this, so let's start tagging them up. Usable place, that means we're good. Okay, this looks decent to me, I think. I think we'll put this in a game. So, once you get everything all set up exactly as you want it to, what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of these objects here to represent your parent object. So this is pretty much going to be the centerpiece of the Placeable. So in this scenario, the centerpiece is going to be that campfire, of course, right? So we're going to select everything else besides the campfire, not these two things, I forget about those things, but everything below that for me. So we're going to select them, we're going to click this one, and press shift and hold it down and click this one here. Then we're going to click and drag it right into here in the burning campfire, the parent object there. Great, now everything is inside of here. So now right click inspect that parent object, and we're going to rename it, we're going to rename it to anything that you want it to be. So in my scenario, it's going to be Homestead. Let's name it like, I don't know, General Campfire. Sure, why not? Perfect. So I believe this is done. I haven't done this in a while, but right click inspect, and then once you have it named, we're going to save as a prefab. So save, select the folder of your mod that you want to save it to, press OK, and here if you have prefabs already, it'll prompt you with this thing. We're going to save to new file, and now the name is going to be whatever your name is on the parent object. So this, there we go. Press OK, and it should save. So now you'll see we don't have this icon here. That means it's not a broken prefab. It is a prefab. Now, how to put this in game, you say? That is a great question. So let's go to our modules folder. This is the common Steam path right here. It may be here if you are using Bannerlord with Steam. So we have our prefab right there. Perfect. Now, this may be a good time for you to jump to the first tutorial video for where I go more in depth on how to create your own module of my module. But for now, we're just going to jump in straight into applying it to the default Homesteads Placeables XML. You are not going to do this. If you want to do this correctly, please watch the first video on how to do this correctly. It's not too hard, so please go watch that. I believe this would be categorized under MISC as well. So we're going to copy the hero hangout here. And we're just going to use that. Now I have localization tags applied to these. You can do this if you want. It will accept it. For the tutorial, I'm just going to keep it simple and not apply localization tags. But in a future release, it will be localized. Don't worry, translators. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. So I'm going to go through what I just changed. I changed the display name here as General Campfire. This will be the, of course, display name, the main title pretty much in the UI box for people to see. The description below that will, of course, be the general description of the placeable that you're placing. Prefab name is going to be exactly what we called our prefab in the modding kit, and what we called our parent object as well. Build points required, productivity increase, and space increase is also leisure increase here. You can change those values to whatever you want. This will increase the stats that your homestead relies on as you place this placeable. So if I set the space increase to 10, now placing this object onto my homestead, it will increase the troop capacity of it by 10. Leisure increase, productivity increase, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think, but if you need some help on how to figure all this out, please leave a comment. I'll help you out. Now this is a tough one here to explain a little bit, but not really, but item requirements. These are the items required for a player to build this placeable. So as you can see, I do have an item name hardwood. Now the name of the item is going to be the ID that you find in the native files. Let me see if I can find it here for you real quick. So all of these here will be the items. They'll contain your ID. So if we control F for hardwood, we won't find it. There we go. Here's one. I don't know where hardwood would be, but I did find fur. So fur is something that you can use. All of these, honestly, I think you can use, but fur is something that you know, is pretty standard for most of the tier 0 stuff. So that is something you may want to use. So you would copy the ID here for the item. So if I wanted like 2 fur to be required on this, I would copy the item, place it within item requirements, and then set this to fur. That will also require 2 fur as well as 2 hardwood. There is something else, production, I want to show you down here. So produce items is a bit tricky. I mean, it looks trickier than it is, but so with this, This is item production. If you want your Placeable to produce items as a daily chance, you can do that. So now this part right here, required items within the produce items, is going to be the items required to actually have it pumped out. Now, you could simply just have no required items for the production items, as in a sheep farm, for instance. So the produce items is right here. You would just not put that required items in. Still leave the produce item, of course, the separators here, and it will produce the item regardless of what's in the stash. Now the name is going to be the same thing as the spawn IDs, the item requirements, spawn IDs. So keep that in mind. One different thing about this, however, is that you can put an OR operator in here. So this little thing here, that's telling the system it will produce meat or it will produce hides. It will go randomly. You can also put that in required items down here. So if I wanted this to do it with cow or hog, that's how you would do it right there. Hopefully I explained that as best as I can. It does look a little intimidating, I won't lie. But just learn it, trust me. It's okay, it just works. Now that we have that, I think we're good. I think we can go in game. Let's see. Here we are. Let's hop in. Alright, so if you don't know, I forgot I was doing testing a little bit. Sorry, we're going to have a little companion on this run. So if you don't know already, you're going to want to press P by default to go into edit mode, or rather placing mode. Oh, look at that, it's our first one. But there we go, we get our prefab in the game. We can't build it because I don't have 2 hardwood or 2 fur. Not an issue, let's go get some. Non-issue, guys, I promise. Not an issue at all. Always make sure you put it in your stash. I always forget. I think I might fix that in a later update, honestly. It's getting kind of annoying. Alright, I guess I'll cut this part out. Okay, we're back. I just had to fix that bug real quick from previous test. So let's jump in again. We got the hardwood and fur in already. Plus, as an added bonus, we're gonna have our little friend still. So let's go over here. Press P. Alright, we got it down. Let's press Q to place it down. There it is. Perfect. Now it's placed down. What you gotta do, if you played the mod, you already know this. We're gonna press tab and hold it to exit, and then we're gonna just come back in. Alright, and we have a few people here. So as you can see, that is how you make your placeables, you edit your placeables, make your homesteads feel lively. Thank you for watching. I also want to shout out some people. I am horribly sorry if I mispronounce your name. I'd like to shout out Artem, Somewhere Tropical from the Shokuo team, Black Rose, Order Without Power, and everyone from the Bannerlord modding Discord for being wonderful resources of information and just being genuine, helpful people. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching. I hope you've learned how to do what you want to do, and I'd be excited to see what you create with this.